G'day, it's Clive Roxsinger here. This video is about death. It's weird. It's very strange. I've had, I don't know whether you call it an epiphany. My guitar fingerboard, the way I do music engineering, is I have characters for the frets instead of numbers, unlike tab. But what I realised is that I could actually spell out names and play lyrics of songs by a different arrangement of the characters. So you've got 12 frets on the guitar. If I extended that to 13, I get A, B, C, D, F, G, and then started in and go through to Z. And I could play names. And when you go outside the key, you'd have to modulate to other keys. So if you had a name like, George Papadopoulos, you may have to modulate and put chords in to say the name. But it's an interesting concept where you could play names on the guitar and words, and you could spell cat and dog. You could actually play cat and dog, and musically, and it would be hilarious, the tunes that you come up with. But what occurred to me is this is bizarre. There are often situations where, like, my brother-in-law was extremely good as a welder, because the noise in fabricating in steel fabrication places is terrible. They've got to wear earmuffs a lot of the time. Deaf people don't have a problem with that. He was good as a crane driver because they use hand signals. Because they're up in a crane, a bloke will be on a roof, and if they break communication, they can't have him not being able to understand things, so they use hand signals to talk to one another. But this is not where deaf people could be good at it. I'm talking about something of the advancement of mathematics to a degree where deaf people would actually be superior to us in mathematics. And it's something that's bizarre to me, and the reason I know about this is there's two factors that are probably unusual. One, that I'm a scientist, and two, that all my relatives are deaf. And there's something that I know about the deaf that not many people understand. A lot of people would hear it but not understand what it means. When we hear a word, I've got to make sure that video's still running. Yep. When we hear a word, if I say cat, you don't hear C-A-T, you hear cat. So our brain interprets it as a word. And I said to my sister, I said, when I'm saying like really long words, I said, how do you understand it when the hands are moving so quickly? She said, I don't hear, I don't perceive it as characters. She said, I just hear it as a word. So if I spell out C-A-T, she hears cat. And I'm thinking, wow. And so what I'm doing at the moment, I'm working on this music where I'm converting words into characters. And then I thought, in mathematics, we go to a lot of trouble. Now you can see on the screen here where I've got formulas and I'm writing down formulas. Writing down formulas is tedious. Talking about mathematics, if I say exponential, if I said, and I don't even know what that symbol is, that one that I've got up there, but say if I've got alpha 1 equals MTOW, which means maximum takeoff weight, I'm only interpreting symbols. It's slow for us. It doesn't work very well. Imagine if you could talk in symbols. And I'm talking about algebra. So you teach deaf math, but you teach them to talk the expressions like MTOW might be that. And they go like that, MTOW equals yada yada. Their speed of doing algebra. See, oftentimes in math, one of the things that slows you down and complicates things is the amount of time it goes to process a formula. The faster you can process it, the quicker it makes sense. If I could do a bunch of symbols like that and write out a whole formula that long, you can interpret it a lot more quickly, because you can perceive, especially if you're using inequalities, you can get to assumptions a lot quicker, because you read the whole thing at the same time rather than some big. It's like having a song that's 30 bars long. you don't really understand it very well because it's too long, you can't connect it. But if you could condense it all into that big, you'd say, oh, I could see a pattern there. So the deaf could be more advanced than humans, or general people that hear in mathematics, because they could actually process mathematics much faster. So we need to teach the deaf we need to teach a deaf person to be a mathematician. I tried to do it with my grandniece and they wouldn't let me. Would you believe it? I rang up the school and they hung up on me. I got a video, I got a recording of it. The Sheila hung up on me. But anyway, my point is that I'm not saying that the deaf could be good at it. I'm saying the deaf could be more advanced than regular people at processing mathematical formulas, because they can symbol the formula out much more quickly, and then they can see patterns a lot more quickly because they can condense it up at a much faster rate. So this is like, I think they call it epiphany. This is big. And also this thing with the musical characters is an interesting road, because I can actually get different arrangements of frets. I've got a set of symbols for that in music engineering where I can define the sets of frets, and because you've got all different strings, you can play people's names. I actually played Chris. See, Cat, where was it? Cat was ABC. Hang on, C, A, now what have we got? C, A, and then it goes T, it goes N-O-P-Q-R-S-T. So it's cat that's cat. You can have some fun with this. But the deaf not only could become very valuable to the scientific community, but they could do things. This could be a new era in mathematics, a new way to go. Has it ever been tried? They say that deaf people are stupid. They're not. It's just to try to talk in smoke signals. But when they're talking on their hands, they leave us for dead. So, Clive Roxing, over and out.